Hey there, time to talk some business. Wow, it seems so loud in here when I'm here by myself. First off, big news, our name is now on the deed for this building. Yay! So what does that mean? That means that, like in all business, I've taken a risk. I have said, I believe that the miniatures, assembly, and painting industry is solid. It's going somewhere. Based on all the data I've been able to get together, my estimates, I think this is a good move. So that's what I've done. I've kind of pushed all my chips into the middle and made a move. So, and to me, what a great adventure. I've purchased a starship, a rickety old starship, and now I'm going to go on some mercenary runs. All right, yeah, Blue Table Painting is in the 20-something range for employees now. Isn't that exciting? So we're growing. We are in a constant state of interviewing right now, whether or not we're hiring. So by all means, check the links below. I have as you may have noticed, I have a generic directory of links, and that pretty much covers the 12 or so main things you need to know or reference about Blue Table Painting. And one of those is how to apply for a job here. So there's that. Definitely don't be shy. Fortune favors the bold. Maybe it won't work out. Maybe it will work out later on. We've got a lot of good people that took a risk. Didn't happen. They didn't make that particular round of hiring. But they went and improved themselves, figured out what was going on, and came back later. So also, let's talk about Valhalla. Briefly, I want to go over what Valhalla is, which ties into kind of what I'm trying to accomplish here. We call it, Sarah and I call it escape from serfdom, is that we're attempting to own land and not be poor and with no leverage all the time. And as we expand, the people that work here will have increased opportunities. But what I found is that it's not always good to have something just given to you. It's not, or let's talk about myself. It's not. I found it's not always good to just have things work out the first time. So I view it as either something good happens to me, or a blessing, a fortune, whatever it is. That come in lots of different forms. Or I get another good thing, which is a lesson. I learned something difficult. So staying hungry is really a big deal. To always be like if everything just worked out, I wouldn't learn anything. I wouldn't like push out and try something new and learn from my failures. And you know, Thomas Edison was a great inventor, but he was also very methodical. You know, I think he tried like 2,000 different things for the light bulb. He was like, does this work? No. 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 Times 500. Does this work? Oh, that worked. So, and it's the same thing with Blue Table Painting. We are a scarred veteran of this emerging industry, and it's really super. So what's at stake here isn't just what we're doing or the success of one company. It's an emerging, how will this emerging industry be shaped and formed? Who will be the responsible, visionary people who will be involved with it? And right now, we're just getting started. I believe that the potential ancillary services market is only being correctly served at probably 4 to 6%. So back to Blue Table Painting. What I'm doing is I'm bringing the structure of a real, solid, dedicated company to a business that either didn't exist before or was not serviced like that before. And so what's at stake here is the very legitimacy of this service. So think of UPS, Federal Express, the United States Postal Service. We are now in the age of the Pony Express. if you want to compare the two industries. That blue table painting is like one little, you know, route across the vast deserted plains, and we thought of something. We made something that previously was kind of helter-skelter into relatively reliable. So that is what I would compare blue table painting to. We're the Pony Express, but we're not done yet, because we're going to build up into a more and more efficient machine. Like right now, if you make an order, it takes us a week or two to get your stuff in, and that's because, you know, some days go by, then we make the order, then some days go by, the order comes in, then it has to get processed. What if there's back orders? But we're actually ramping that down. We make an order almost every day now. And we're still fighting with issues on supplier side. So, and I don't think that'll ever go away unless we become our own manufacturer as well, but that has problems to it too. We basically have to, we'd have to supplant Games Workshop in its entirety. So, and that is an ambition that I do not have. Speaking of the miniatures battles market, oh my gosh, it is chaotic right now. So I'm just trying to kind of sort through it. I've set aside ambitions of making our own game. And there are too many actors in the market, and they're doing it well. Don't reinvent the wheel. That's like a Secret Weapon miniatures. We were making our own bases. I got the wholesale cost down to about $1, just above $1. Well, the wholesale cost to buy ones that are better from a company that has more efficient and well-established infrastructure is 50 cents a base. Right? So why would I be doing here? I'm reinventing the wheel. So and that's a major item with business, which is you have to fill a need, or some would say fill a perceived need, you know, which the corollary to that is don't try and reinvent the wheel. So back to blue table painting, we're getting that order time down. We're also getting our turnaround time per section. So like in assembly, it's 2 days to get your project checked out, and it's 7 day due dates. So once it's on someone's desk, they have 7 days to complete it. And typically artists are working on multiple things at a time, so we just make sure that they're piled up with 7 days worth of work. So a smaller order doesn't necessarily go faster. And same thing up in painting, and but because of a surge, we've had been short-staffed, but only comparatively. We've actually been hiring. So my point is, we're working on that too. We're trying to get those numbers down so the turnaround time is much shorter. I believe if we work really hard, and again, I'm not saying this is something we're doing, I'm saying it's something that we are pushing towards. I believe the turnaround time, oh boy, should I even say this? I believe the turnaround time can get to 72 hours for an entire army. You think, oh, Sean, that's just going to be rushed. No. It's all a matter of man hours. How many man hours need to be put on it? So, because we've made a 2,000 point army in 48 hours once we had the materials. So 72 hours might not be attainable just because of the materials limit. But what'll happen is if I had a crew of say 150 here, I could split that into round-the-clock shifts, and you could also have round-the-clock phone answering too to take your order. And so again, these are just goals. These are just dreams. I don't know how long it'll take to do them. A year would be fast. Yeah, in fact, a year you couldn't staff that quickly. You'd fly apart at the seams. Growth can hurt you as a business. Yeah. Oh, so anyway, so your project would come in, it would be immediately ordered. Maybe we might even get express orders for every single order and make one order every day. So it'd take 2 business days to get your stuff in. Processed immediately in like an hour. There's a whole crew working on that. And then, again, so this is what I'm dreaming about. I'm thinking, okay, what is the best possible service that you could get from a commissioned miniatures painting company? So then you would have a team of assemblers, either 2 assemblers working in tandem, or we're thinking of quads, so that for a larger project it would come in, and then you would have 4 assemblers working on it. And then in between each station, there could be like work in progress. So there's a guy, you know, and that's his full-time job, is he goes, he takes pictures, takes HD video, he processes it, and it comes over to your mobile phone or your email right then. And then once approved, then it would really be the client that we'd be waiting on. Once approved, it could go on to the next thing. And then same thing for painting. Duos, singles for really small project, duos, and then quads for larger projects. And then I thought, well, okay, that's kind of weird. It used to be I'd have 2 or 3 studio armies at a time. I think I have like 10 studio armies right now. And so the thought doth occur that we could simply stock 30 different armies, or 50 different armies, or 100 different armies, and we would just have them. And you would go onto our web store. By all means, please check out our web store. It is really, really super. Do you want to pay $50 for a kit? $40 for a kit. That's discounted, typically. Or do you want to go through us and pay $25? Or do you want to go through us with a refurbished kit and pay $20? So, yeah, that's kind of a thing. And we're working on it. Right now, I think we just broke 1,000 listings. That includes all the treasure troves I did before. Do you remember the lot numbers? You know, we're like 82, 155, whatever. And we just kind of worked our way up. I think we just broke 1,000. My goal is by the end of the summer to have 1,300 listings actively up. We're about, going to say, halfway there right now. And we have the stuff in the studio right now to make the other listings. And it's just a matter of processing them through. And we're processing through about 30 to 50 listings a day. So back to what is the best service you could receive? It would be that you could look at our giant smorgasbord of armies and go, you know what, I like that one. And it can be expressed out, and the next day you're down at your game shop, busting out your awesome new army. Right? Wouldn't that be neat? I would love that. That'd be great. So we're working towards that. Think of how much we've accomplished in the last 2 years. 2 years ago, I had 8 people. We had just refurbed I do believe it is like 1,000 square foot upper level office. We put in carpeting, we painted it. Do you remember this? Those of you that have been following our journey, and absolutely no ambitions of doing anything more than playing D&D and paying my bills. And now, through a series of, you know, spark plugs firing up in my brain pan, there's new ideas, new concepts. What could I do for other people? What can we do for the community? You know, and you got to get out of your shell. You got to. Let me tell you how this works. And there's lots of different organizations that can provide these kind of contacts. But here in Utah, it's mostly Mormons, and church is where you go. And that is about my speed. So anyway, so through church, they passed around a sign up to go volunteer down at the meat packing plant. Here's how that works. The church has different segments of production for welfare. So when I was back in Oregon, there's a sign-up sheet. You would go out to the pear farm, and I used to volunteer for that, go out with the youth and pick pears. And that was oh boy, I'll never forget that. Up in the ladders, summertime, all my friends. It was really absolutely magical. Here in Spanish Fork, it's beef, so you go to the meat packing plant. And so anyway, so I'm at the meat packing plant, and this guy I know, this older gentleman who I'm friends with, his name is Max. Hello, Max, if you ever watch this. So I'm talking to him about what I'm doing down at this, but we're renovating this building and the wonderful things that we're doing. And so I'm like, you know what? The mayor should come down and shake my hand for cleaning up this part of the city. And a guy a little further down the line is like, you know what? So happens I'm married to the mayor's daughter. Maybe I can arrange that. And so, long story short, the mayor and the city planner came down one day We'd actually given the city planner a tour of the place, and they were duly impressed. So yeah, the mayor of the city came down and shook our hands. Isn't that great? So just getting a little out of your shell, and you never know. For example, once again, lots of different types of community things where you can get connected as a volunteer. A new family moved into the ward, so I just headed on over. I unloaded a 24-foot trailer practically by myself. And it was brutal, but because I'm obsessive compulsive, I can't stop until I'm finished. I had to get to the very back of the trailer. And so, oh yeah, it blew out both of my arms. So anyway, well, it turns out that guy is a real estate guru who's put together lots of different types of deals. He had ideas. And he came and talked to Sarah and I for like 4 hours over 2 sessions. And we were just like furiously scribbling down notes. Here's how it works. And he explained to us kind of how it all comes together and, you know, what the nuts and bolts are. And he gave us ideas. He said, now this project that you're doing, because we're talking about Valhalla, which at the time was codenamed Mountain Fortress. Sarah hated that name. He said, you've got to come up with one word that encapsulates what it is that you're doing that's immediately understandable by the people that hear it. So when I say blue table painting is at the Pony Express stage of the miniatures industry, see, you understand that, you get it, just from one short phrase. So anyway, he said, like Atlantis, come to Atlantis Resort. So something like goes into your mind that you kind of have already an idea of what that's about. And so same thing, Valhalla. Okay, maybe not everybody knows the technical meaning of the term, but I think most do. So, there we go, we got it. Okay, let us go on. Okay, and I hope you guys don't mind this. I'm really just kind of going on and on. Again, right now our turnaround is probably 3 to 6 weeks. That is very good for the industry. It's realistic. People promising less. Okay, I don't know what to say about that. You could do that for a while. You probably can't do it consistently and at the scale that we're doing it. So anyway, but who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. But in either case, I'm dutifully and diligently ramping that down. So yeah, I'd say industry standard is probably about 3 to 6 months. I guess that's not uncommon. But again, there's probably 50 people that could naysay that, and I say, good on them, let's roll. So anyway, this is an emerging industry, even war games in general. This isn't done. This isn't like, you know, this is still like an early galaxy forming. There's a lot of dust and stuff forming around, and we don't know what bodies are going to shape up. By the way, in that example, Games Workshop is the giant black hole at the middle of the galaxy that holds it all together. So anyway, all right, let us continue. Okay, promoters. Oh, hi. Hey, all right. Yeah, an instant for you was actually a half hour for me. A ward member came by and gave me these cookies. Isn't that nice? Absolutely lovely. I'm going to show those to other people. All right, let's do this thing. Okay, so Valhalla. So basically, long story short, where Sarah and I are sitting desk to desk, and she says, you know what, I'm going to look up some properties in Spanish Fork Canyon. And I said, I don't want to, this is a la all the homesteading conversations we had had. You know, own your own land, kind of build it up. Don't pay the banks all your interest. By the way, I've spent 2 to 3 full years of my life paying interest to banks on money that they just created out of thin air. They didn't even have it. All counterfeit. So anyway, so I say, I want a piece of that. I don't want to horn in, but let's roll. So we go up the canyon. We looked at some, you know, different ranchers kind of showing us around on these properties. I mean, this is like cactus and sagebrush. It is hard scrabble. You know, this land's higher, so you got to dig extra deep to get a well going. And so we're like, you know what, let's just keep going. Let's go further up the canyon. Let's go off this side route and like find out what is up here. And that's when we found the location for our first 2 Valhallas. And it's this like mansion up on the hill, this like gorgeous ranch house. And there's a secondary building, and I'm like, that is the future. I actually have that somewhere, of me in the car saying, that's the future. And so we turn around, and we see a real estate sign, and so we call the number. We're getting way out of our comfort zone right now, right? So we call the number, we go see the house, we find out the guy's about to pull it, but he's willing to talk to just us. Turns out he's a D&D player. It's a plastic surgeon, and he had built this as his, as kind of his secret lair, and built it all from scratch. You go back on the old Google Maps, and it's just a blank hill. And so the cost was $2.2 million. And that was for 200 acres plus the mansion plus a subsidiary new building. And it was all high tech. He had brought the water main out to it. Huge. There was like a river, alpine meadows. It was like our minds were just blown by this place. And so we were like, all right, how are we going to get 2.2 million? We're like, how are we going to do it? How are we going to do it? How are we going to do it? And that's where we came up with the idea of Valhalla. We'd have guests out. That's how we would pay for it, right? We need to get in like $10,000 to $20,000 a month. That's what we would need to do. We need to clear that in order to hold the expenses of the land. And so anyway, so then we're just racking our brains on it. It's a dark time. It's difficult. I mean, we're just getting pounded in the skull by new ideas. And then we get a text. Prices come down to 1.1 million. Oh, I couldn't even believe it. So we're like halfway there with nothing. So it's all so miraculous and wonderful, but the deal didn't go through, but we learned a lesson, and we got lots of new ideas, and we had business mentors come out, and we talked to them. We kind of figured out how everything worked. We're not even close. We figured out, I guess it's to a certain extent. And that's when we did this building. And so all the knowledge from that first, what apparently a failure, turned into something beautiful that we actually accomplished here, and we're close to finishing this. Then we got to pay for the building, and that'll be the first accomplishment for our joint endeavor. All right, so Valhalla. So then we were like, okay, where else should we go? So we ended up in Sundance, and there's a gorgeous rental up there. And again, we had to get out of our comfort zone. We had to traipse around in the snow. It was 10 foot deep up there at that time. You guys all went along for this journey. You saw it. You saw all the places we scouted out. It was brutal, and we're not even done. Now we got to scout out the next level, which is we are creating the prototypes for Valhalla, a high-end, elite, otherworldly wargamers resort, open year-round, something like that. That's where we're still kind of, the cosmic dust is still accreting into a disc shape. We're putting this idea together. So that's our next step. Sometime this year, we're going to be scouting locations. We plan on, again, plans don't always happen, but plan on making a scale model of the building we want to make. Because we have the skills, right? So we're going to build Valhalla in miniature, then it's going to really happen. So, and by the way, that's a great way to go about things. You want something, you want to do something, have you written it down? Have you made a scale model? Have you made a little map of it? Start at the end. It's a Zen master saying, or a Zen saying, I guess, that says to climb a mountain, start at the top. So yeah, start with the end in mind. All right, let's move on. So again, I'm just talking about plans, just talking about ideas. I should probably do this on my Musings channel, but it's all Wargamer related, so away we go. So yeah, Valhalla. Okay, so Valhalla has here's the practical end. You can buy tickets as just a regular individual. Come on out, be a part. Typically at this time, it's about 1-to-1 ratio. We have about 9 to 14 guests come out. Mostly people from out of town, or excuse me, out of state or out of country. And then we have some locals that come up. And then we also have staff. So it's a 1-to-1 ratio for staff. Where do you find that? It's fantastic. We test games. It's open gaming. And we just have awesome tables, awesome armies there. We have armies for people to use. You don't even need to bring an army to this thing. And we find out what most people are bringing, and we kind of customize to that. But it really is a chance to learn some new games, play your old favorites as well. So there's that. So we have 2 more dates. It's 8/8 and 10/10. So August 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th. It's Wednesday through Saturday. And October 10, 11, 12, 13. And basically, you buy the tickets are on the web store right now. You get on the web store, you buy your ticket, and you're set. All you got to do is get here, and we do everything else. There's some limits to the transportation. You know, like we couldn't come pick you up at 2 a.m. But yeah, mostly you don't. You know, you're not being sold to. You're not being proselyted. You just come out for great food, great war games, and the warmth and friendship of the BTP staff. Those guys are awesome. Handpicked. Okay, so and I'm calling on promoters. I want people inside the industry to contact me about coming out to Valhalla. We do have a room or two still for the 8/8 date, and I think we have 1 room for the October one. So the August one. So if you're a promoter and you can bring some reflected light, so to speak, like you have a following, we want that. We want you to do live from Valhalla. It's so and so, and we want to meet you. We want to find and get you know, do a meeting of the minds, share some ideas about the industry, and also eat food, have great company and society, and play awesome war games. So we are looking for promoters. That's could be somebody in the industry, or it could also be somebody who is in industry media, like, you know, a podcast or whatever. So I'm calling you out. Let's go. Get out here for August. We will put you up. It's 10 to 15 degrees cooler up in the mountains. It's going to be gorgeous up there. The place we rent has a theater, a sauna, steam room, hot tub, 4 levels. It's decked out. And yeah, it's like marble etched glass, wood and stone. It's ridiculous. River and pine. And then there's Sundance Resort, which I think is like 4 minutes away, 3 or 4 minutes. You just go down the windy old road, and you're in Sundance Resort, and that's great for a significant other, possibly, to go down and have a good time there. All right, so anyway, so our next step is to build our own Valhalla, or actually acquire an existing place and renovate it into a Wargamers resort. And I put out lots of different numbers and been like, hey, we want 500 people. No, that's too many. We want 40 people. No, that's not enough. So I'm still working out how big this thing is going to be. Personally, we don't want to lose the small. Personally, I don't want to lose the personal touch. So anyway, so what's at stake here is we're creating an industry. We're defining an industry, right? Oh, as a side note, if you have an insurance claim for miniatures, contact me. I'll be glad to help you, give you a bona fide, realistic industry standard for replacement cost on your miniatures. And at this time, we do that at no charge. You just let us know, and we set you up. Because sometimes your miniatures get lost or stolen, so or destroyed. Let's see. I'm calling promoters and companies. Oh, trade-in program. If you trade in your models and you get a $100 credit, you can use that $100 credit on our web store. So you email me and you say, Sean, I want to use my $100 credit on lots X, Y, and Z. And so I pull those. But if you do the math, since generally see, I'm using very vague words there because it's not always 50% off. Your $100 credit actually buys about $200 worth of stuff. So our trade-in program is awesome. It's fantastic. All right, let's move on. What is Valhalla? Nope, that was it. So hope you guys enjoyed. What did I talk for, like a half hour? You know, there's bigger and better things coming, and I appreciate all the goodwill and and so we get a lot of positive fan mail, which is real nice. So all the best to you. Life is gonna be better, even better than it is now.